World War I, also known as the Great War, was a global conflict that lasted from 1914 to 1918. It involved many of the world's great powers and was primarily centered in Europe, but its effects reverberated around the globe. Here's an overview of the key aspects of World War I. Causes. The war's origins can be traced back to a complex web of political, military, economic, and nationalistic factors. Some of the main causes include nationalism. Intense nationalism and competition between major European powers fueled tensions. Imperialism. Rivalries over colonial territories led to clashes and power struggles. Militarism. An arms race and the buildup of military forces increased the likelihood of conflict. Alliance system. Complex alliances formed between nations, dividing Europe into two major blocs, the Triple Entente, France, Russia, and the United Kingdom, and the Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. Major events. The war was triggered by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in Sarajevo on June 28, 1914. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, setting off a chain reaction of alliances and declarations of war. Key events include Western Front. Stalemate characterized trench warfare between the Allies, primarily France, the United Kingdom, and later the United States, and the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary. Eastern Front. Fierce battles between Germany and Austria-Hungary against Russia, leading to significant territorial changes. New weapons. The war introduced new and devastating technologies like machine guns, poison gas, and tanks. U-boat warfare. Germany's use of unrestricted submarine warfare, particularly against Allied shipping, contributed to the United States' entry into the war. Russian Revolution. In 1917, internal strife in the Russian Revolution led to Russia's withdrawal from the war. U.S. entry. The United States entered the war in 1917, tipping the balance in favor of the Allies. Armistice and treaty. The war ended on November 11, 1918, with an armistice agreement. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 formally ended the war, imposing heavy reparations and territorial losses on Germany. World War I ended with an armistice agreement followed by the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. Here's how the war came to an end. Armistice agreement. The armistice agreement that effectively ended the fighting on the Western Front was signed on November 11, 1918. The agreement went into effect at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, marking the moment when hostilities ceased. This date is now commemorated as Armistice Day or Remembrance Day in many countries. The armistice was negotiated between the Allies, primarily France, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and Germany. The terms of the armistice included immediate cessation of hostilities. All military operations on the Western Front were to stop. German withdrawal. German forces were to withdraw from the territories they had occupied in Belgium, France, and Luxembourg. Disarmament. Germany had to surrender significant amounts of military equipment, including artillery, aircraft, and submarines. Occupation. Allied forces occupied the Rhineland and other strategic areas within Germany. Naval terms. The German Navy had to be disarmed and interned in neutral or Allied ports. Treaty of Versailles. The armistice paved the way for the negotiation of the Treaty of Versailles, which was the formal peace treaty that officially ended World War I. The treaty was signed on June 28, 1919, exactly 5 years after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh terms on Germany and its allies, particularly Austria-Hungary. Some key provisions included territorial changes. Germany lost significant territories to neighboring countries, including Alsace-Lorraine to France and parts of East Prussia to Poland. Disarmament. Germany's military was severely restricted, including limits on the size of its army and restrictions on the production of weapons. War guilt clause. Germany was forced to accept sole responsibility for causing the war, known as the War Guilt Clause, which had political and economic consequences. Reparations. Germany was required to pay reparations to the Allies to compensate for war damages. These reparations had severe economic consequences for Germany. League of Nations. The League of Nations was established as a means to prevent future conflicts, although the United States, led by President Woodrow Wilson, did not join the League. The Treaty of Versailles was met with mixed reactions. While some saw it as a necessary measure to prevent future conflicts, others considered it overly punitive and believed it sowed the seeds for future tensions and conflicts, ultimately contributing to the conditions that led to World War II. Consequences. The war had far-reaching consequences. Human toll. The war caused immense loss of life and suffering, with an estimated 10 million military deaths and 7 million civilian deaths. Political changes. The war led to the downfall of several monarchies and the emergence of new states in Europe and the Middle East. Treaty of Versailles. The treaty's harsh terms on Germany contributed to economic hardships and sowed the seeds for future conflicts. League of Nations. The League of Nations was established to promote peace and prevent future conflicts but proved ineffective. Precursor to World War II. The unresolved issues and resentments from World War I contributed to the conditions that led to World War II. World War I had a profound impact on global politics, society, and culture, shaping the course of the 20th century in significant ways.